Giraffes can't dance. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully bandy and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango, which was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked towards the floor, but the lions saw him coming and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald," the animals all laughed. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, don't be daft." Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on, "but sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to." With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying and his tail was swishing round. He threw his arms out sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backwards somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. "I'm dancing! Yes, I'm dancing! I'm dancing!" Gerald cried. Then one by one each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen! How is it you can dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twizzled round and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." Hi, so today we are going to have a look at another longer piece of writing, and today we're going to have a look at making a leaflet. Now, this week I read the story Giraffes Can't Dance. If you haven't seen it yet, then go and watch it. It's a really lovely story. But I thought maybe we could have a go at making a leaflet all about giraffes. Now, obviously, in order to make a leaflet, generally, a leaflet is non-fiction. So it's not a story, it's full of information. So if I was going to make a leaflet about giraffes, then I would have to do a bit of research into giraffes first. So I thought we would go through the whole process together today. So in order to do our leaflet, we have to do a bit of research first. We're going to need something to write on and something to write with, and then you're also going to need a separate, ideally a separate piece of paper that you can use to make your leaflet. So if you don't have those things, maybe pause the video, go find them and then come back. This is probably a good starting point. Okay, so finding out the information for our leaflet, we are going to ask some questions and then we will use the internet to help us find the answer to those questions. So we might ask, what do giraffes eat? Where do giraffes live? What else might you ask to find out information about a giraffe? How tall is a giraffe? Brilliant. Remember, if we are asking questions, then we're using the who, what, where, when, why, how, are, can. How tall is a giraffe? Can you think of anything else? So we've got where do they live, what do they eat, how tall is a giraffe. Should we find the answers to those first and then we could always think of some more afterwards? Yeah, okay, because we might come across some interesting facts. So I'm going to use the computer to find out the answers to our questions, and I'm going to do that by typing them into a search. I'm going to find a search engine and I am going to type our questions straight into them. So what do giraffes eat? Giraffes primarily eat the leaves and twigs of acacia, mimosa, and wild apricot trees. Typically, a giraffe will eat about 66 pounds of food a day, but can survive on as little as 33. Oh, that's interesting. So they eat somewhere between 33 and 66 pounds of food a day. Oh, okay. I wonder what that is in kilograms. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to use the search engine. What is 66 pounds in kilograms? Oh, it's 29. And then I can also change the 33, and that's 14. So they eat between 14 and 29 kilograms. Whoa, that's a lot. Of leaves and twigs from, and then I'm going to use the names of the plants that they actually ate them off. The acacia, mimosa, and wild apricot trees. There we go. So at this point, I am just making notes. So it's not my neatest handwriting. It's not necessarily in full sentences. I've just included all of the information that I know I will need in order to turn it into a great sentence. And the reason that I chose to convert it from pounds to kilograms is because I don't really work in pounds, so it doesn't really mean anything to me. But if I translate it into kilograms, then I know, whoa, that's a lot. So you don't necessarily have to, but I want to understand the information that I'm writing down, and so I'm going to convert it to make sure that I do. Okay, our next question was, where do giraffes live? Giraffes live, right, giraffes use both semi-arid savanna and savanna woodlands in Africa. Giraffes are found in fragmented habitats scattered throughout sub-Saharan Africa. Oh, okay. So they live in, that's a really tricky word, isn't it? Semi-arid. So maybe we should use the dictionary to find out what that means. Ah, okay. So it's like a deserty area. So a semi-arid area is like a part desert area. So it's like sandy areas. So they live in sandy areas and woodlands. So that's what I'm going to write. I'm going to write sandy areas, and then in brackets I'm going to write down semi-arid, because that wasn't a word that I understood, but it was a word that like a technical word that they use. So I've written down sandy areas, semi-arid, and woodlands in Africa. Okay, cool. And then our next question that we had was, how tall is a giraffe? Oh, okay. So males are between 5 meters and 5.9 meters. Females are between 4.3 and 5.2 meters. And I bet it would tell her how tall infant giraffes are as well. Wow, a baby giraffe is about 1.8 meters when it's born. That's so tall. Cool. So at this point, I had my questions and I've just written my notes underneath so that I can use them. They're not in perfect sentences. It's not using my best handwriting or anything like that. This is just for me. So as long as I can read this and I can understand this, that's all that matters right now. I'm done using my computer for now. I'm going to put in the information that we already have. And then if I need some more, I can always find some more. So when it comes to a leaflet, you've got lots and lots of different choices. So you could fold your piece of paper in half. You could have it sort of like a book, you know, that would absolutely work. You could fold your piece of paper into 3, so you could fold it down here and then it would open out and you would have lots of different pages. Or you could fold your piece of paper, you could fold both edges into the middle like this, and then when it opens up you would have like a section here, and like a big middle section there. You could fold it however you wanted, really. I think that I'm going to fold it into 3. So what I'm going to do with it, so I'm going to put one into the middle and then I'm going to fold the other one over, and then I'm going to push it down, because that way they will be as close to the right size as they possibly can be. So I'm going to fold it down. So I folded that one. I'd already creased this one, and then I'm folding the one that goes into the middle first, and then I'm folding the other one over the top and creasing down there. And then I have my leaflet that has lots and lots of different pages, and it also has a back. Now I'm going to leave the back completely blank in this case. In case I just wanted to stick it like onto something, then I would still be able to open it and read all the information without losing that back bit of information. And the front page, so this bit here, is always going to be my title. So this will have the word giraffes and it will have a picture of a giraffe. I'm not going to spend my time doing that now, but I know that that will be the giraffe, so I'll leave that there. And then what I intend to do is to use each section to answer a different question. Now, in some information leaflets, it will have a subheading, so it will just say what it's about, and in others, it will use a question as the subheading, and then the answer will be underneath it. So I'm going to use one section for each of our questions. Now, in exactly the same way as we might do elsewhere, we can use different colours. So we could do one colour for the question, and then we could write in a different colour for the answer for that question. It's completely up to us really how we lay it out, but my aim is to do the question and then the answer for this one, and then we do a picture that matches that underneath, because a leaflet doesn't have to be full all information. It can have different bits there as well, so pictures or diagrams are great. So I think that's what I'm aiming for. And then if I need it, and sometimes I do, then I can draw with a ruler, I can draw faint lines to keep my writing straight, so I have something for it to sit on, because obviously when I'm writing on plain paper, it doesn't have that. So if I need to, then I can do that, or I can ask a grown-up to help me do that, and then that will help to space my writing and make sure that it's not squishy or sat on top of each other or really wonky. So my first one was, what do giraffes eat? So on my first page, I'm going to write the question. Oh no, I made a mistake, never mind. What do giraffes eat? And remember, it's a question, so it needs a question mark. So I've written my question, and then underneath, what I'm going to do is to use my information, I'm going to turn it into a full sentence. So giraffes eat the leaves and twigs from acacia, mimosa and wild apricot trees. They need between 14 and 29 kilograms of leaves every day. So then that is the information that I put here. So I have to make sure that when I am writing the sentence into my leaflet, that it is a full sentence and it is not just copying exactly what I wrote down, because what I wrote down isn't in full sentences and it doesn't necessarily make complete sense. So I have to make sure that what I'm writing in my leaflet does and is well punctuated as well. So I have to remember all of what I need, and I don't have to answer in just one sentence. So in this case, I'm going to use two, because I'm also, my second sentence I'm going to use is they eat between, and here, look, my word, I didn't plan this very well. It didn't fit, so I've just put a little hyphen and finished it here. Now that's not ideal. I would be much better to realise it won't fit and start on the next line down. But I always leave this one folded into the middle, because if I don't, it would be really tempting just to carry on writing over it, but then it's in a different section of my leaflet, and we don't really want that. So they eat between 14 and 29 kilograms every day. There we go. And then there would be a space at the bottom. So there's my full sentence, and there's a space at the bottom. And then I would do exactly the same with all of the other bits. So write a question here, and then the answer underneath. And I don't necessarily always have to write it at the top. I could do the writing down here and I could have the picture on top. The only problem with that you will come across is that obviously you need the writing to fit. So you need to roughly know how much space you would need for the writing in order for it to fit in the space that you have, so that you don't start too low and then it doesn't fit, because that wouldn't look very good in terms of presentation. Therefore, sometimes starting at the top is easier. So we would carry on through, we would have a question and our information about each bit. Now there's there's 4 bits on this particular layout, and I only had 3 questions. So I would need to, once I'd done these, I would need to go back and find the information for one more thing. Remember that if we're doing a leaflet about giraffes, then it needs to be factual, so it needs to be real. It has to be information, it can't be my opinion. And then once I've done that, I would go back through and I would fill in the spaces with pictures. I could draw them or I could do diagrams, and then I will have a title on the front, giraffes, and a giraffe, and maybe at the bottom, who it's by. You can make a leaflet about anything. Maybe you could make a leaflet about the area that you live in, and you could shout about all the wonderful things that happen there. Whatever you do with the rest of your day, have a great one. Bye-bye. So today we are going to be looking at the idea of finding 3/4 of a shape or of a number. And if we look at that as a fraction, then we might be able to make some links, and we'll do a little recap in a second. So here we go. This is a fraction, 3/4, 3 of 4 equal parts. So this tells me how many I want, and this tells me how many it's going to be split into equally. That is important. And this line just means of. 3 of 4 equal parts. So this is very similar to this, but this just means we want 1 of them, and this means we want 3 of them. So whatever we do, we're going to split it into 4 equal parts like we do if we're finding a quarter, but this time we're not going to take just 1 of them, we're going to take 3 of them. It really is as simple as that. So if we are going to, let's start with some shapes. So let's start with a circle. So can you draw a circle, and then can you split that circle into 4 equal parts by drawing 2 lines? Yeah, well done. So it should look like this. You should have it split into quarters. Each bit should be the same. And then in order to show 3/4, all you're going to do is shade in 3 of them. Just like that, look. 3/4. Quarters just means 4 equal parts, and then 3/4 means I want 3 of them. It's as simple as that. So let's have a look at a semicircle next. Let's work our way up. We'll go through the different shapes, and we'll try and find 3/4 of them. So remember that if you're doing the semicircle, you can do the line straight down the middle, but then you've got to go up and cut it into segments rather than going across. It just doesn't work. So then once you split it into quarters, like such, it's quarters whichever way around we go, then can you colour in 3/4? And that really is as simple as you've got it into 4, then you've just got to colour in 3 of them. 3/4. There's just 1/4 left. Well done. Okay, what about a square? Can you show me a square? Can you cut it into quarters? And then can you show me 3/4 of it? And I think you could probably do this 2 ways round. So let's see if we can do 2 ways round. Remember, if it's a square, all of its edges are equal. So I think there are at least 2 ways that you could show me 3/4 of a square. In actual fact, I think there are probably more ways that you could show me 3/4 of a square, but for now, at least 2 I would be happy with. And let's see if I can just get that 3rd way that I just thought of in before I show you. Okay, are you ready? Have you got 3/4 of a square? Yeah, well done. So either I could show it like this, going straight down, straight across, and colouring 3 of them, or I could do diagonal to diagonal and colour in 3 of them, or I could just go straight across and I could colour in 3 of them that way. And in actual fact, I could do another way because I could go down that way as well, couldn't I? So there are lots of ways that I could show 3/4 with a square. What about with a rectangle then? You're doing really, really good job here at remembering that actually all we have to do is to split it into quarters and then colour in 3 of them. What about with a rectangle though? Can you show me how you would help if I drew a straight rectangle to start with? Let's try that again. How would you show me the rectangle? Now, if you work out one way that you could show me 3/4 and then 3 of those quarters with a rectangle, then could you challenge yourself to find me another way with a rectangle? Are there as many ways with a rectangle as there are with a square, or are there less with a rectangle than there are with a square, or are there indeed more with a rectangle than there are with a square? I don't know. You would have to show me. I think I can get at least the same number. Yeah, I think I can get at least the same number. I'm not sure if I could get more. There we go. 3/4. Split this way, this way, this way, or indeed this way. but they all show 3/4, because basically all that 3/4 means is that we find the 4 equal bits and then we need 3 of them. So we can do exactly the same with numbers. Now, if I'm trying to find quarters of a number, then I find the easiest way to remember this, but there is another way that we can do it, but I find the easiest way to remember it is to do the cross, because the cross is how I would remember quarters on a square or a circle. So that's quite logical for me. And then I will draw dots in each section going round until I get to the number that I'm trying to find 3/4 of. So if I try and find 3/4 of 8, then here are my quarters. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and carry on going round. 5, 6, 7, 8. I do a quick visual check that each one has the same number in, and it does. And then what I have to remember is that I want 3 of them. So I want 1, 2, 3 of them. So 2, 4, 6. 3/4 of 8 is 6, because 1/4 is 2. So that's 2, add 2, add 2. That is the only bit where it comes a little bit trickier, is when we're doing it with numbers and we have to remember that we want 3/4, not just 1/4. So let's do a little bit more. Let's have a go at some different numbers. I'm going to leave the 3/4 there at the top to remind me. And I'm going to draw my cross because I know I'm finding quarters. And this time, let's find 3/4 of 20. So can you write that? Can you do 3/4 of 20 equals, and then can you have a cross ready to go? And we will use that cross and we will go round and round. We'll put dot in each section until we get to 20. And that will have our numbers split into quarters for us. And then we just have to work out what 3 of them are. So, you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now, there are a couple of ways around this. There are a couple of ways that we could do this. All I'm going to do is I've just drawn a pink circle around one of the groups of dots because I don't want that. And then I'm going to count all of the rest of them, and that'll tell me how many I've got with 3/4. So I just reminded myself that I didn't want that one, and then I can use the other ones to help. In natural fact, I can see there are 5 in each one, and I can count in 5s. Therefore, I know that 3/4 of 20 is 15. So I just reminded myself that I didn't need that one there, and that I was only focused on those. And I could have done that the other way around. I could have circled the 3 that I was going to count. It doesn't really matter, as long as I remember and it is a system that works for me. There's no hard and fast rule with it. Okay, let's do one more like this, and then we'll have a look at another way that we could actually use to help us work it out. This time then, let's do 3/4 of 24. So I wrote 3/4 of 24, and I have my cross ready to go. And now I am going to do a dot in each section until I get to 24. Are you ready to join me? Cool, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24. Time to stop. I'm just going to check, and actually up close I can see that all of those dots are separate, and then I am going to ring one of the groups that I don't need, just to remind me that I don't count those, and then I'm going to count up all the others. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you there? 3/4 of 24 equals 18. This and this and this equal 18. It's as simple as that. I'm going to split it into 4 groups, and then I'm going to count up 3 of them. Now, there is technically another way that we could work this out, because we could actually use division to help us. So if I was trying to find 3/4 of 40, then I know I have got to split this into 4 equal groups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 groups across the top, and then I am going to carry on counting until I get to 40. So I am going to carry on doing line by line in exactly the same way, only this time I'm going across instead of going round. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. I'm just going to carry on until I get to 40 in exactly the same way, just a different layout. So let's see where we get to. And then, so I'm nearly there, I'm nearly at 40. There we go. So I split it into quarters here, and in this case what I need to do is I need to remember not to count one of the lines. So I am going to put a ring around one of them just to remind me that I don't count that one, and then I'm going to count the rest of them. Now in actual fact there are 10 going down, so I can count in 10s across. 10, 20, 30, so 3/4 of 40 is 30. Okay, let's try and do one of those like that together, and let's see if we can do 3/4 of 28. 3/4 of 28. So can you write that down? Can you write 3/4 of 28? And then we know that we're going to be doing 4 groups, so we're going to go 4 across, and then we're going to keep going underneath row at a time until we get to 28. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28. And then I'm just going to ring fence off one of my rows because I don't need to count that. So your array should look like this because we only want 3 of them. And then we count how many are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 3/4 of 28 equals 21. And I just write it in there like that because I don't want all 4 quarters. So if we just go back and we just have a quick recap of the idea of 3/4. Here we go, look. Then we've got 3 of 4 equal parts. So this tells me how many I need to split it into, and this just tells me how many of those I want. So here I've got it split into 4, and I would colour in 3 of those in order to show 3/4. And so when we're doing our numbers, we're just doing exactly the same, but we're just splitting them around the 4 different bits, and then we are counting up 3 of them, and we're leaving the last one there. It's super important to remember that they need to be equal parts, so check that before you count. But I think you've done an incredible job with something that's really tricky. Keep practicing, keep seeing if you can find 3/4 of various different numbers, and in actual fact I'm sure you could find different numbers of quarters as well. Whatever you do with the rest of your day, have a great one. Bye bye. Hi. So today we are going to have a go at setting up an experiment, and the experiment that we're going to look at is how we can clean coins. So today our focus is about setting up an experiment and about predicting what we think might happen. So I've got 8 different glasses, some coins, and some various different things that I think might make a difference when it comes to cleaning my coins. And we're going to set up a fair experiment, and then we are going to see if we can predict what we think might happen. In order for it to be a fair experiment, one of the most important things is that we can only change one thing. So within an experiment, within a test, we will have things called variables. Okay, they're the things that can change. So it might be that the type of coin is different. It might be that the material of the container that we put it in is different. It might be that the size of the container that we put it in is different. It might be that the thing that we put in the container to try and clean with is different. But when we're doing an experiment and we're trying to make it fair, what we have to make sure is that we only change one of those variables. So in this case, we're going to change the thing, the product that we use to do the cleaning, which means that we have to make sure that we're keeping everything else the same. So I have 8 little glasses that are all the same. They're all glass, they're all the same size. So each of my coins can have its own little glass. I'm going to set those up just here, look, but each one will have its own glass so that I know that it can't be the material of the glass being absorbent, because glass isn't. And I also know that it can't be that one's got lots more in it than any of the others, because they're all the same size. So we will have to make sure that we use the same amount in each one. And then the only other thing that I'm just being really careful of is of making sure that in the draining board here, there are little dips. And so I'm just trying to be really careful and make sure that I set them all on a flat surface so that they're all in the same position. So we've got the same sort of container for each one. And then the next thing that I need to do, I'll talk afterwards, is try and find 8 coins, ideally, that are the same. So let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I found 8 coins that are the same, but can you see this one here? Whoops, this one here is significantly shinier than the others that are there. And I do actually have another dirtier one in that pile. Now, I obviously can't use the same coin because it would already be a bit more clean after I'd put it in one. And I also wouldn't be able to control the variable of time as easily, because the way that I intend to control the variable of time is to have all of them in there for the same length of time, give or take. So I have 8 coins. I'll make sure that each glass gets just 1 coin. So now I know that my coins are the same, my containers are the same, and I know that my things that I'm putting in them are the thing that we will change. But we won't alter the quantity that we're putting in there. Now, I could just get going. I could just put all of my things in and I could get going. But if I'm trying to set up a fair experiment, then the best way to do that would be to create a table of results that I can come back to, and then that would allow me to draw some conclusions. So I've got my board here, and on my board, I am going to create a table. So what I'm interested in is I need the product, so the cleaning product. I need the name of that. So I'm going to create a column for that, look down here. And then in terms of going across, what I will look for is the observation. So we will make an observation. But before that, actually, I might just put a prediction. So I will change that to be prediction, and then another column for observation. And I'll keep that last column for observation quite big, because in this case, it's not going to be numerical. It won't be a number. It will be a sentence. It will be something that I see. So I need to make sure that I have enough room for that. So I've got here my product, and then a column for my prediction, and then a nice big column at the end for my observation. So I've chosen 8 different things that I'm going to try and clean my coins with. One is water. It might work, it might not. But I'm going to try water because we use water for washing up every day. Now, I'm also going to try this. I'm going to try sparkling water, fizzy water. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because it's carbonated. So I wonder whether there's something in that fizz in my water that will help to clean my coins. So I've got water and then fizzy water. And all I'm doing here is just adding them underneath and then drawing a line across so that I can add my observations and my prediction afterwards. Now, obviously, if you were doing this on paper, you could do it with a ruler and it'd be lovely and neat. If I do it with a ruler, they all just rub out. So I've got those 2 things. I also have washing up liquid because we use washing up liquid to wash up. So it makes sense that that would be a good thing to clean with. I have some cola because I've seen what cola can do to teeth and it's not very nice, so I think that might be a really good thing for cleaning. I also have some bicarbonate of soda because, again, that is something
that I've seen some really good reactions in experiments that I've done previously, but also it's something that I know can be used sometimes in toothpaste and things like that. So it's logical to me that that might be something that's good for cleaning. I then have some salt. Now, I'm not sure about the salt. I don't know if that might make it worse, but I was interested to see. So I have salt, and then separately I have vinegar. Now the salt actually came about because I was in the cupboard getting the vinegar, and the salt was next to it. But the vinegar I reckon might do well because it's acidic. So it's an acid. So I feel like that might do well. How many am I at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I have to make a decision because I actually got out of the cupboard a cleaner that I could use, like a multi-surface cleaner that I could use. But now I've started writing down the others, I'm wondering whether I would be better to put the kettle on and try hot water. So I try the difference between hot water and cold water and see which one would make a difference. So I think at the bottom, I'm going to put hot water and then see what impact that makes, because I'm now I'm getting into it, I'm questioning it in my head, and I'm thinking, I wonder if that might make a difference. So it's okay to make a change because the only thing I'm changing is the thing I'm putting in. Okay, my next column along then was the prediction one. So let's see if we can make a prediction as to what we think will happen when we put in water in with the dirty coin. Just water out of the tap. If I put water in out of the tap and I leave it for 15 minutes, what do we think will happen? Nothing? You don't think anything will happen? Okay, let's write that down then. So in my prediction column, I'm just going to write, in that case, the word nothing. And then I'm going to work my way down, and you can help me. So the next one's fizzy water. I think, go on, what do you think? Yeah, I think that this might remove some of the dirt, but maybe only a little. Okay, remove a little dirt. Okay, washing up liquid is next. What do we think about the washing up liquid? Yeah, maybe the same as before. It might remove a little bit of dirt because washing up liquid is good for cleaning, but maybe not a lot because it's been there for a long time. Okay, cola. Yeah, I agree. I think that cola is going to remove quite a lot of dirt. So I'm going to write remove a lot of dirt. What about the bicarbonate of soda? I think that's going to be a good one. So I'm going to say that I think that's the same as above. Yeah, I think that bicarb is used quite a lot in cleaning things and for like toothpaste and things like that for whitening. So I think that that will probably remove quite a lot. What about the salt? What do you think will happen to the salt? You think it will make it worse? Do you know what? I'm happy to write that down. I don't know. When you go to the seaside, things rust much quicker, don't they? If you're by the sea, and the sea is full of salt water, so maybe it might make it worse. Vinegar's next. We think the vinegar might remove a bit, yeah? Okay. What about the hot water? Oh, okay, that's an interesting idea. The hot water might work in a similar way to the vinegar, to the acids and things because of the heat of it. Okay, let's go for that. So I have my predictions all written down. I wonder which one we think will be the best out of all of them. My prediction, I think the cola will be the best one. I think the cola is going to get off the most. And I think the normal water is going to be the worst one. I don't think the salt water will, but maybe I'm wrong. So today we looked at how we could set up an experiment, how we could keep it fair, and how we can make predictions linked to things that we already know from the world around us. There's only one last thing to do, and that's just to set up our experiment, because there's one more variable that we need to make sure is there and is fair. So we need to make sure that there's the same amount in each one. So I'm going to start at the back so that I can remember which one we were on. So my water was my first one, and then fizzy water is my next, and all the time that I'm doing these, I'm making sure that I'm putting the same amount into each one. Now I feel like with the washing up liquid, it probably needs to be not all washing up liquid. I think it probably needs to be washing up liquid and some water. So I will top that up with water, and then cola is next. Oops. Oh, now that's gone ever so fizzy, so we will have to see where we go with that. That bicarb is next, so we'll make sure we put plenty of bicarb in. but then we will fill it up with water to a similar line as the rest of them. Go back with a bit more Coke now as well. Very, very fizzy. Salt is next, so the same thing as with the bicarb, I think. We'll put a load in the bottom, cover that coin, and then we'll fill it up with water. And the reason that I've done it going down the line is that what that allows me to do is to keep a track of which one was which. So I've always gone left to right each time, and I'm always using the same amount. And then the last one that I have to do is the hot water, and I'll do it in exactly the same way. Just need to boil the kettle first. You did some great setting up an experiment, some great predicting, and you thought really hard about how to keep it a fair test. Whatever you do with the rest of your day, have a great one. Bye-bye.
Hello Angel students, today we are going to talk about how much do you read? How much do you read? Do you read? Do you like to read? Do you still enjoy reading books? And if so, what kind of books do you like? What genre of books do you like? Do you like fantasy, autobiography, which is about the lives of people? Do you like magical books? I think that would come under fantasy really, wouldn't it? So what other type of book? Fiction, non-fiction? I just feel like that's too general. Do you like science fiction? Do you like mystery books? Books about children your own age? If someone were to give you an Amazon voucher right now, but you had to buy a book, what book would you buy? What type of book would you buy? Is there a book right now that you already have in mind that you would like to read? You know who wrote it, you know what the book is called, and you would like to read that right now. And when you get a book that you really like and you're enjoying it, how often do you make time to read it? How long usually would it take you to read an average size book? How long would you give yourself usually to read that book? Now, why does it even matter, you may be asking? Why does it matter what type of book you like, what genre of book you like? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm asking. Because books broaden your entire perspective. They broaden how you think about things, how you put your opinion on things, how you understand things. There's a big world out there, and books can help you to understand different cultures, why people are the way they are because of those cultures, and you learn different writing styles in books. So if you understand different writing styles, you will also understand different ways of communicating, different styles of communicating, different ways in which people use words. And this will help you in turn with your own communication. Now, these days, you don't even specifically need a book. We can read books online. It could be on your phone, on a tablet, on a computer. There are so many ways that we can access stories, books at the moment, that you can read a book anywhere. You can read a physical book anywhere, but you can read a book anywhere. So some people could read a book on their way to school. They could read it on their way to work. They could read it just on their way to wherever they're going. Or you have people that prefer to read a book where they're completely alone. They're not going to be disturbed. So you may have a quiet space, a nice cozy environment that is set up, or that you set up specifically as your reading environment for your reading time. I love to read. I absolutely love to read. But I didn't always love to read. I would read if I found a book really interesting. And I have my favourite genres of books that I usually stick to. It's very rare that I will read fiction, but there are a few authors whose fiction books I just love. So for those times when I just want to switch off and get lost in a story, there are specific authors that I would go to for a story, for a fiction book. I also have favourite books. There are books that I have read more than once, and there are books that I have recommended to people because I just think they're so amazing. So what books have you you read that you really love? And what were the reasons that you really loved that book? Because that is usually a great place to start in getting more books. If there's a specific author you like the way they write, you like the way they tell stories or they explain things, then perhaps you could seek out other books by that same author. Or if there is a specific genre of books, such as science fiction, for example, there may be other books in that same topic of science fiction that you could find other books in. Having said that, it's also good to explore books that you wouldn't necessarily always read, because you may be surprised. You could read something that you wouldn't necessarily go to read and be really intrigued, be really hooked to the story. So try different versions of books. And this is why people have book clubs. So a book club is usually run by one, sometimes two people. And every week or couple of weeks, a new book will be suggested that will be the book for that particular week or however long it's going to be. And everyone will read the book and then they will come together to discuss the book. So many people could read or even watch, hear or see the same thing, but they have a different understanding of it. So when you get together in these groups and you learn different ways that people think about things or see things or interpret things and understand it for themselves. So when you have read a book, it's kind of like a video. Imagine you watch a video and you understand it in one way, but when you ask your friend, oh, have you seen this video? And they saw it or understood it in a completely different way, you come together and you communicate and you kind of debate about your own ways of understanding it. The same is true of when you read books. Books spark critical thinking. This is where the conversations come in about different ways of it being understood, because you have to think about exactly what the author means, exactly what the author is trying to tell us, exactly what this story is about. And sometimes we'll be enjoying the story so much that we just really want to know. You just want to know. Just like if you're watching something, and some platforms where you can watch things give you the ability to watch the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. So it's not like you have to wait days or weeks for the next episode, for example. So sometimes people will sit there and watch multiple episodes all at once because they want to know what's going to happen, because of the anticipation, the wanting to know. So you will watch them to know. It's the same with books. It's a story. There's a beginning, a middle, and an ending. There's a plot. So you want to be able to explore what is going to happen. And when you have people around you that you can explore that with, that you can discuss that with, it makes it even more interesting. Reading in itself is a skill. It's very good for the brain and it can be very comforting and relaxing. It's a skill that should never be taken for granted, because unfortunately a lot of people, even some adults, cannot read or find it incredibly difficult to read. So if you're one of the fortunate ones that can read, you do have the skill to read, then don't waste it. Reading, just like in some of the other lessons we have done before, can help you with research, with your independence, with your muscle memory, with learning, with skills, with confidence, with building trust within yourself. Reading is limitless because the things you can read about are limitless. There is no topic that you can think of that has not been written about that you can learn from. Reading is essential for our development. It's one of the first things we are taught when we are young, is how to read, is letters, is words. We are shown books with beautiful pictures and colours. It's essential for enhancing and improving our vocabulary, our communication skills. It expands our imagination and our creativity and how we use our thoughts and imagination. It creates empathy when we listen to stories, when we read stories, and depending on what the story is, we are stirred with emotions. So it takes us through a journey, and that journey can also sometimes teach us through the story, through the book, a lot of problem solving skills. Reading should definitely be rewarding and not a chore. This is why it's so important to know what you enjoy reading, the kinds of things you enjoy reading. Books have come a long way. Information has come a long way. These days, people will write specific books, ebooks, about specific topics condensed into a smaller type of book. So again, if we were talking about research and independent research and being the next innovator and the next Albert Einstein, for example, you could, without a doubt, find an ebook that someone has written to help you learn the steps to do so. There are books out there on being a content creator, being a YouTube influencer, all types of things. So it's important to know, what do you actually enjoy reading? When you know what you enjoy reading, you could fly through a book in no time whatsoever. It's incredibly rewarding and it promotes your personal growth. You can also share books. So if you've read something and you think it's amazing, you want to share it with your friend, and then you can discuss the book between you, that's another great way of building relationships as well. So you don't always have to buy a new book or download a new book. You can share. Just make sure you get it back. Do you know how many books I've shared and I didn't get them back? So now I'd rather gift them so that I get to keep the book in my library and I'll gift it to somebody. Or if I have a download, I have a digital version of the book, then I'll send that. Also, remember, these days we have audio. We have Audible. You can even find books here on YouTube that people have recorded and released and uploaded. So there are so many ways that we can get into books and stories and literature of almost any topic and genre and learn from them. Do you remember me saying that the best way to hide information is to put it in a book? If you do, don't be one of those people. So find ways to enjoy reading. Put the fun back into reading again. Decide what you really enjoy reading, what sparks you when you're reading it, because you never know. You could be the next author. You could be writing the next book that somebody wants to purchase, read, or even gift to somebody else. So get reading. See what you can find around the house today, or note down the book that you would really love to read and see if you can get your hands on it. All right? Bye-bye, Angel students.
Hi. And follow me. Let's do a quick exercise for the joint first. Wrists and ankles. Change 5 times. 1. Feel the movement. 2, 3, 4, 5. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep your elbow up. Hands reach out far as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One hand's up, one hand's down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Follow your elbow look back. 1, 2, 5, 6, arm straight, and exhale shoulder. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, change. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Shoulders down, hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shoulders. 1, 2, 3. Change. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's practice some punching technique first today. So we're gonna do 10 push-up. So you can do on your open palm like this, or fist, or finger top. So we're gonna do on the palm, it's more easier. 1, all the way down and all the way up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Push up, just prepare for the punching. So just relax punch, 2 foot points. Keep your foot points straight. Clench your fist, breathing in. Yeah, clench your fist. Elbow back, slightly bend your knees. Make sure your tailbone tuck in, body upright. Slowly, 1. So when you punch, make sure center of your body. Drop your shoulders and the elbow. 2, 3, slow is better. So open up your palm, breathing in, clench your fist, drop your shoulders and elbow, breathing out when you punch. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exactly same, a little bit power. Make sure when you punch, you relax your hips, so not going up, sinking balance. 1, breathing out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, inhale and exhale. And let's do a little strength training on the leg, then we do some marble stance. Squats, going down, much as you can, stretch your back. And stand up, stretch front of your body 10 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, this is good, especially if you do a lot of study, have a shoulder neck problem, you see. When you stand up, you open up your body, looking up. So this is creating the stretch on the shoulders. And this is good for your shoulders and neck function. So let's practice the first Kung Fu stance. Marble, 3.5 foot wide. Keep your elbow on your knee. Push your knee up. And breathing in, look forward. And breathing out. If you turn your body to the right, you push your left knee up. Breathing in. If you turn your body to the left, you push your right knee up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you do by yourself, if you do a long thin breathing exercise, that should be minimum 5 minutes. But of course we did a little bit quicker. Gumbo stretch, front leg bends, back leg straight. Then when you feel stretch, focus on your breathing. 1, use your breathing to stretch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, change. One leg bends, one leg straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, good. So when you do the stance, Marble and Gumbo, this are 2 different stances, but between the stance, like change side to side. So that's technique. It's very important exercise to teach you how to relax your hips and move from your waist. And your mahoi. So remember we did the first movement of the routine. So 1 hand block and 1 hand punch. Yeah. So Marble change the Gumbo. 1 hand block, Marble. If I'm going to the right, I relax my right hips, my left leg push the floor. If I'm going to the left, my left hips relax. I'm turning left, my right leg push the floor. Yeah? So let's try 10 times. No power. 1, push. 2, push. 3, push. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So exactly same. You can use a little bit of power if you want to. So same. So make sure you turn your body and push the floor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Inhale and exhale. Relax. Let's walk in through the routine once together. So, what I mean, inhale, hands up, and exhale. 1, clench your fist, elbow straight. 2, so this is the movement, marble. Then change the gumbo. 1, hand straight. Then pedal. Block. And punch. Feet together. Block. Stand up. Kick your right leg. Right hand block. And punch your left hand. Then stand. Upcut. Marble. Punch your knees. Then punch. Turn your body. 1. Punch. 2. Turn left. From here, right hand block, right knee up. Left hand block, left knee up. Then marble, bend your knees. One hand above your knee, one hand above your head. Then stop. Shoulders. Inhale. And exhale. So this is the small routine. And let's finish here today.
Please like and subscribe so you could get more and more lessons.